Hello, everyone. Welcome to another fun episode of Thrive Live. I am really excited to talk about today's topic because it doesn't just affect our health, it affects how we show up for ourselves, how we show up for our family, and just basically how we show up for life. How do we show up in this world? And so this will have big implications in health and the results that we get, but also way beyond that, also just the implications with those that we love and with a connection with those around us. And I know last week I said I was going to talk about Ayurvedic medicine and that approach into healthcare, but I think this topic is so important and it's come up this week with patients that I wanted to jump it in the queue and talk about it now. So let me share my screen here and we will dive right into it. So your mindset really either sets you up for success or it holds you back. And when it comes to our health, our relationships with ourselves, our relationships to those around us, work, success, and ultimately fulfillment in life, our mindset is literally the key that unlocks this unlimited potential in all aspects of life. It is so important to understand what blocks we have, and you may not know yet, and hopefully at the end of this presentation you'll have a good idea of, okay, what things do I need to work through. We all have blocks. I have blocks. As I go through this presentation, I can see myself in each block at some point. But it's important to, one, recognize them and then identify them. And then it will help us start to work through them so that we can literally move past it. And then we can reach that zone of fulfillment and excellence and live in a life where we are literally thriving. So let's dig into it. And we're going to talk about how to rewire our minds. And the big six that we're going to talk about is comparison, the thoughts, I am not good enough, overwhelm, indecision and procrastination, complaining, and finally, judgment and criticism. Oops. So let's talk about comparison. So it's so easy to want to compare ourselves to those around us. This can really trigger the I am not enough, I do not have enough, I'm not successful enough, I'm not as good of a mother as Jane, I'm not as good at biking as so-and-so, I'm not as good at work as my cohort. So this is something that I think most people fall into, is the comparison trap. And so the trap is really when we are looking at the success of others and how that reframes back into a negative light. So you're not making as much as your husband, your wife, your significant other. And this creates this negative connotation that we end up carrying with us and that will affect our health. And the result is that it puts you into this place of jealousy. It starts the next thought process and the next topic of believing you're not good enough. It builds that resentment in, which will affect your relationship, not just your relationships with your other people around you, but can also be resentment against yourself, criticism and self-criticism, and criticism, more so self-criticism, and judgment. And the truth is that we really want to look at what we already have, and what we already have is a blessing. Look at what you currently have. Look at the relationships that you have. Look at what your body has to give back to you, and appreciate what you have, because that appreciation will lead to celebration. It will help to promote inspiration. It will help to provide more connection, and it will build more excitement. So we really want to take these negative thoughts and the comparison trap and reframe it and say, hey, look what I have. What I have is pretty freaking awesome. And what I have is a blessing. So the reframe. So we're going to reframe our thoughts, reframe this mindset, and accept what is. Sorry. Accept what is in terms of others' success and your own. And instead of seeing that comparison as a negative, see that comparison as a way of seeing what is possible for you. You know, as you don't, your brain doesn't know what is possible until you've seen it. So use them as a role model of, hey, this is possible if you want to go and do that, right? And each experience is a learning situation, and so is life, and healing is a learning journey in itself and a journey of self-discovery. And so you really want to take away from each experience. First point is the meaning. What meaning do I choose to give to this situation? The second point is learning. What can I learn from this situation? And the third point is integration. How can I integrate what I learned into my life? And then finally, share. How can I share this growth with others? So repeat: meaning, learning, integration, sharing. Meaning, learning, integration, sharing. So instead of just sitting there comparing yourself to the success of others, instead take it as, what meaning can I take from this? What can I learn from this? How can I integrate this into my life? And then how can I share what I've just learned with those around me? And you want to create, an affirmation statement of your value, right? Because remember, if you find yourself comparing, we're going to reframe it and say, I value what I have. I value, my purpose in life. I value myself as a human, how I make the world a better place. I value my health and my body. You cultivate this gratitude, and it increases the results on whatever journey you're on, your transformational health journey. It increases the success at work. It increases your connectivity at home. So we really want to reframe that into a place of looking into a state of gratitude and looking at what you have. So the liberation statement, the statement that's going to help liberate this. I know there is no lack or scarcity. There is abundance all around me. Everything is possible for me. I am a powerful creator that has the capacity to give any meaning to a person or circumstance, and the meaning I choose to give will impact my life and the people around me. So by taking this liberation statement, we're growing our wealth, our depth of gratitude, our self-love for our body, and self-love and love for others. And this sets you up for having transformational results, not just in your health, but in your community, your work environment, your connection at home, your results with your kids. It goes full circle. Now let's talk about the second point. I am not good enough. I can tell you I have worked through a lot with this one. So the trap. So you feel like you're constantly lacking something that you need in just your being, whether it's knowledge, resources, support, community, the list can go on. And this ends up blocking you literally from moving forward because you're just thinking about the lacking of what you have, right? Or I don't have enough knowledge. I don't have enough years of experience. You get kind of stuck in in that lacking mindset. So this ends up limiting your creativity, right? It's limiting your forward progress. So it's limiting your resourcefulness. It's limiting your connectedness to just not only to yourself, but to others. And it's limiting your wholeness as being. So the truth is that you are enough just as you are. There is nothing else you can do, be, or have to change the excellence, perfection, and completeness of God's creation. And now, while I don't actually believe in God, I love the feeling of the statement, the weight of it, where you are perfect exactly how you are today. And there is no upgrade that you can do. You are enough today. So when we reframe our thoughts and you start to have this thought of, I'm not good enough, accept that you're already perfect absolutely perfect, and commit to always learning. Love your body for who it is, for what it is. Love yourself. So our liberation statement for this is, I trust that I am precisely where and who I should be to powerfully move forward into the next step of my extraordinary life. And again, that's not just with your work and success, is also with your relationship with yourself and your relationship with your family. And this will affect literally every part of your being in this lifetime. Overwhelmed. Who here isn't overwhelmed? I know I tend to attract a lot of people who are like me, who are very driven and tend to have a lot on our plate. We're trying to balance motherhood or our careers or just balancing all of the family dynamics. Overwhelm is a very common symptom for a lot of my patient population. And health, even if you're not juggling all that and you're just trying to juggle your own health itself can feel very overwhelming for a lot of us. It can feel like a full-time job, especially, if we're trying to address Lyme disease and Epstein-Barr, and we're trying to affect stress, and we're trying to balance out the hormones and get you prepped for fertility. The list can keep going on, and this can just be overwhelming. It's like, my God, I just have to, my body and my health journey is literally a full-time job. But at the end of the day, it doesn't have to be, right? We just literally take one step ahead at a time. So if you're in this trap, in the overwhelm trap, you feel that mounting pressures, you feel the mounting emotions, that you feel like tasks are impossible to deal with. You're shutting down, you're overwhelmed, you're throwing your hands up and you're saying, I'm done. And this ends up cutting yourself off from a state of resourcefulness, right? Because your brain's kind of shutting down, and then your brain just can't quite think of the resources that it has to bring in to help you to get out of the state of overwhelm. But the truth is that life is constantly unfolding around us, and new possibilities and pathways based on what we do or do not accomplish. So instead, ask yourself today, what can I do today? And what can I leave until tomorrow? And when did it work out for me despite the overwhelm? So if you're overwhelmed, just take a step back. I love the trick of just using a sticky note, right? Just write 2 things on that you need to get done today that cannot get pushed to tomorrow. And that is your to-do list for today. 2 things, that's it. Don't go to 3, just 2. And it can only fit on a sticky note. Don't do what I tend to do is to make that massive to-do list. No, go for the sticky note. You can make that massive to-do list, but only then 2 things go, your top 2 go onto that sticky note. So our liberation statement is, all I can do is all I can do. And all I can do is enough. And I think that is so powerful. Appreciate what you can do now. Leave for tomorrow what can be left alone. But most importantly, celebrate your progress. Celebrate your success. And look backwards. This is like the one time I'm going to tell patients, hey, look backwards. Don't keep looking forwards. Look backwards. Look backwards and see, where have you come? What habits and lifestyles have you implemented and changed? Especially if you feel like the health piece is overwhelming, look back and say, oh yeah, when, a year ago I was feeling this way and my lifestyle and habits were like this. Look back and see what you have accomplished. And we want to celebrate those accomplishments. Celebrate all of your hard work and the progress that you have made. And that will bring in the positive light to the overwhelm. So instead of being overwhelmed by everything you have to do, look back, give yourself a high five, do a little celebratory dance of everything you just accomplished. So important. All right, indecision and procrastination, our 4th mind trap. So you can't make up a decision, right? You're deciding back and forth, can't quite get there to the bottom line. You're failing to make a choice or to take that action in a timely manner. And what does this do to you? It ends up wasting time, provides no new information, right? You're just stuck in the same cycle spinning. It prevents any action to be taken, and it eliminates the possibility of life corresponding with us. And what I mean by that is there are infinite paths that we can take. And the moment that you make a decision, you take a new path that opens you up to new possibilities and growth. So most decisions, well, I would say all decisions, well, most decisions actually, are not right or wrong. They just are. You're given the gift of being able to decide. And from that decision, try it out. It's imperfect decision, and then you make it right over time, right? I'm a big advocate of imperfect actions is the way that we can progress. You can do all the research that you want, but at the end of the day, you're gonna have to take an action, and you try it out, see how it fits, and then if you don't like it, if you love it, then you will learn and you'll grow. It opens up this door of possibility. For those, I found this resource really interesting, the Kolbe A Index. It's a great way to understand your strengths and how you can help support your own decision power, but also understanding what your strengths are. And then you can focus on that in your work, in your business model, in your communication with your family, in your communication with yourself, in your health journey. And so that it's I think it's $55 to take the test. It's 36 questions, and it helps you understand where your decision power is and where you should try and focus your decision power based upon how your brain thinks. So, all right, so you're stuck in this procrastination, indecision, you can't make up your mind, so what are you gonna do? We wanna ask yourself, which is my best option for the outcomes that I want to create right now in this moment? And what will produce more results, making a decision or remaining in indecision? And my mantra, and I'll repeat it here because it's been so powerful for me, is imperfect action, right? You're not gonna know the perfect decision until you take that step and you make that imperfect action. Imperfect action is the fastest way to perfection, right? Each new decision and action opens new and exciting possibilities. That's so cool. So you can decide to act swiftly, creating motion towards the life of your dreams, taking the step to activate those habits and lifestyle changes towards a realignment of your body that's re-energizing and gives you the strength to do everything you want to do. So our liberation statement for indecision and procrastination is each new decision and actions opens up a new pathway and a new possibility in an endless series of possibilities. It's up to me to simply decide and act. So just take a decision based on your gut instinct and what you think is at this point in time, what you think is the right way. And if you're the more analytical engineer research type, then do your analysis, but don't get paralysis of analysis. Make a decision. Imperfect action. And hold on, we already talked about complaining. 1 second. Oh, we did not talk about complaining, didn't we? No, we talked about comparing, not complaining. Sorry, my brain is crossing. Complaining, let's talk about complaining. So complaining, it's believing a situation or circumstance will never change, right? It's putting your energy into providing that this belief is true. It's more of like a stagnant, you're putting your energy into a stagnation, right? You're not growing, you're not looking backward, you're just doing a stagnation. And there's a lot of healing that can come with talk therapy and talking about it. I think complaining is just it's very different than talking about things. So I just want to make sure there's a very different distinction between those two. when we put that negative energy, the negative connotation into, we'll say that talk therapy, so more that complaining aspect, it reinforces the images of what you don't like and directs the brain to achieve more of that. So your brain is now going to go out and seek more of the activities that will reinforce those negative patterns. So your brain will be seeking out that negativity in your day-to-day. But the truth is, you can only control yourself and your reaction. Now, I think that is actually pretty mind-opening, because you control yourself. You control your reaction to an event. So, but if you're focusing on that complaining leads to criticism, to disconnection, to uncertainty, and action. But if we can reframe that to, instead of acceptance, so acceptance and forgiveness, and sometimes it's having to forgive ourselves, which is probably one of the harder things to do, but forgiving someone else, forgiving and accepting the situation, then that leads to a place of calmness. You're inspired in terms of how to make a change, right? You foster curiosity and creativity, and ultimately resourcefulness. So you'll take the negative situation, turn it around on its head, and say, well, how can I then make this better, right? And then you'll actually feed forward all the positive brain pathways, and it will actually move you out of that place of stagnation into a positive space. So our liberation statement with complaining is, there is nothing to complain about. It just doesn't exist. I'm a powerful creator that has the capacity to give any meaning to a person or circumstance. I will accept what is and change my perspective to change my circumstances. So you are in 100% control of how you react and perceive people and circumstances around you. If that's a little bit too daunting, go back to the first slide of the what meaning can I take away from this? What learning can I take away from this? How can I integrate this into my life to make it better? And then how can I share what I just learned with those around me? There's a little bit more step action in that. And then finally, judgment and criticism. So judging, I mean, we all, I think, are the hardest on ourselves. But judgment and criticism is when you're believing that something is wrong with the person, or when their actions don't align with our personal convictions. This really destroys relationships. It really destroys the possibility of creating healthy, strong relationships. And once you judge someone, it's really, and you bring that into the relationships, it's really hard to recover that relationship. So really, we want to spin judgment and criticism into a place of compassion. And that compassion will lead to forgiveness, understanding, connection. And so we want to switch from criticizing to compassion by viewing yourself and the others from a place of love and value. I think everyone has value, everyone, and if you feel like you're butting heads and you just want to criticize, then think about, okay, well, to stop your thought process and say, okay, what value is this person bringing to my life, into this relationship? But also for our own self and our own healing journey and connection with our own bodies and our health journey, is we tend to be very critical of ourselves, whether it's, weight, how we look, we're hard on ourselves, we judge ourselves. If I didn't follow the treatment plan, I wasn't able to integrate that habit, that lifestyle. So then spin that around on its head and give compassion back to your body. See the value and the love that you have for your body. See the value of the steps you have been able to take. It might have not been all the steps and things you wanted to integrate, but go back and celebrate what you have accomplished, and learn how to love yourself for those actions that you were able to take. And that will build on loving ourselves and our own bodies. So the liberation statement is, there's no universally right opinion. I think, that's the beauty of being human, is we're We're all entitled to our own different opinions and beliefs and emotions. And being open to all of those and to those around us allows us to be more connected to others, to ourselves, to our own health journey. And it will also allow us to grow and to see new possibilities that we can discover. So the choice is yours. Being able to have fulfilling relationships starts with a relationship with ourselves. Putting ourselves first to prioritize our own self-care allows us to have a deeper connection within ourselves and all of the relationships around us. So you have the tools that we just discussed, which will help you create and cultivate the habits that will transform your health and let you thrive with energy, mental acuity, and a whole sense of balance and realigned body. And if you feel like you're getting stuck in any of these, I would love to hear from you. Send us an email back. But I hope that this was really powerful and inspirational. And even if you just write down your mindset traps in your calendar, just in 30 days, a month from now, revisit the list. Ask yourself, where am I getting stuck? You can even come back and re-listen back to this recording in a month and actively try and be on top of it. Where are your mindset traps? Where are you getting stuck? We all have them. I think I definitely see myself into each category at some different point. And so just be open to that. And as you're open to it, you will learn how to move beyond it. And then you are going to be open to more possibilities, more growth. Your health will transform. You'll be more receptive to therapeutics. You'll have higher success with integrating habits and lifestyle. And you'll also just increase your self-love. So this was super powerful, and I hope it was really powerful for you. I would love to hear any comments or feedback, so feel free to send those over. And I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend, and we will see you next week. Bye.